I just spent 5 days and 4 nights in New York City with my son Patrick. We had a blast. We did a lot of cool things. And my constant companion, other than my son, was my A7C Mark II and the 40 millimeter compact prime. I also elected to take the grip, which does not come with this camera, but it's the one that comes with the A7CR. I just love the way it feels in my hand. I have big hands, so I like that. And then finally, you might notice there's a weird hood on here. This is I don't know how you say it, Hague hood. It's Haoge. I'll leave a link below. I get them on Amazon, but this is a really fine metal shade I feel like it's better than what I get from Sony. But again, I love the 40. It's a great street photography lens. And what I want to do today is show you some pictures that I shot in New York City as we were walking around. Now, what I did different, which is kind of cool, is I treated the camera as if it was a film camera, meaning that I only took one picture of every scene that I was interested in. So instead of shooting a series of 10 or 15 frames and looking around, I just would really work it really hard and then commit to one image. And so you're going to see the result of me shooting a roll of film, basically, in New York City. So without further ado, let's get into the pictures, and here we go. Okay, so I had a great time in New York, and I just love to walk in that city. We were walking between, 15,000 and 19,000 steps a day. So we walked miles and miles and miles, and it was fun. In the intro, I talked about only taking one picture, and in two occasions, I actually took two, and this is one of them. This building is just awesome, and the way the light was hitting at the top right when we were walking by with the sky. We had the most beautiful weather last week in New York. It was absolutely breathtaking. So I shot this picture, and then I thought, this is really cool. Now, this is a little more complicated, but the birds flying through, the different angle, the street light, all these things kind of just, I don't know, it just worked. So I'm not sure which one you like better. This is really simple and beautiful and, stark. But this one's got, it's got jam too, so whatever. This is a really neat place. It's a kind of a lobby that is like half a block long in a big building, and there's restaurants in there and stuff. And they had these weird light fixtures, these big chandelier things that hung from the ceiling. There's about 5 of them. And to the naked eye, just to the human eye, they were bright on white light. But when you use the camera to look, depending on the shutter speed you had set, you could see it cycling. And it would give you this sort of, it was pulsing basically. And so it's really interesting, just the juxtaposition of this light fixture inside this atrium with the bright blue sky outside. One of the things I love to talk about is the sensor in the A7C Mark II. And now that same sensor is in the A7 IV, but the brand new camera, the FX2, has it as well. And so there's just so much headroom, so much dynamic range in that sensor. You can make, this picture didn't look like this when I started. I was able to add, open up shadow detail to get the light to be brighter, and then bring in highlight recovery to get the sky and the buildings to look decent. So really kind of a nice look. This is just in the MoMA and just shooting something that was interesting to me. Anyway, just kind of cool. A lot of these I converted to 16:9. I just like that feel. Again, MoMA is just full of surprises. Every time I go to New York, there are different things there, and it's just fantastic. And watching people in MoMA is also interesting. There's a lot of families with small kids, and I don't know how people do it, but, whatever. Again, look at the dad yawning, and then there's a reflection of the piece that I just had in the foreground in the prior frame. But you can see all the people coming from all over the place. When you walk through MoMA, it's like being on the subway. You'll hear, 8 or 9 languages if you got a bunch of stops to go. But all the kids, I was just amazed at how many kids everywhere. This is my son, Patrick, who was looking at this installation on this wall through this glass, and I just thought it was kind of a cool little moment. Coney Island, Brooklyn. I hadn't been there in many, many, many years, and it was really fun to go back and see the boardwalk and just all the people and just the collision, all the music that's being played out there. But the the old rides are kind of cool to look at, and the sky was just amazing, truly amazing. I did use Adobe Lightroom to mask out the sky a little bit, so just to be honest, but really nice. The old amphitheater's still there. They cut a hole in the side of it, and now there's a massive outdoor under tent music theater on the side of the amphitheater. It's kind of cool. Again, I hadn't been there in many years, but the seagulls really add to every picture at Coney Island, I think, and just the ornate, accoutrement of this building is just really cool looking. We just don't make stuff like this anymore. This is actually a lifeguard kind of a hut thing. And the orange was just really cool with that blue sky. And I just was like, ooh, that's cool. And just, very much a kind of a postmodern feel, but the paint was just great. So whoever repainted this, I appreciate it. It really helped me out. This is a defunct ride that is no longer in service, but the structure of it's still up, and it's just kind of weird. It's all faded. The paint's all faded. I'm kind of surprised it's still up. It seems like it'd be dangerous, but whatever. Coney Island, man. This is a sort of a louvered cover over an area where you can eat. But the steel, the metal, just caught my eye. I really thought it was kind of interesting looking with the organic clouds in the sky, and just everything was just balanced out, kind of cool. Wonder Wheel. It's a pretty neat ride, and you hear the screams from people when the cars trip on the different tracks. It's really kind of clever. But I'm glad it's still there. Coney Island wouldn't be Coney Island without Wonder Wheel. This is a newer, very skinny roller coaster that gets you upside down a whole bunch of times, but I just like the juxtaposition of the gate and then the yellow and the red and the blue, all the primary colors in black. Just kind of neat. And this is another one where I'm looking through that ride at Wonder Wheel at one of the cars. But just the sky is just pretty amazing that day. It was just so beautiful, and it was not hot. It was absolutely gorgeous. This is just walking. This is on Midtown someplace, and I just love looking at the buildings, and especially the buildings next to each other. Like there's such a contrast all the time. The one on the right is such a plain Jane thing compared to all the ornate brick and the multicolored brick and all the stuff that they did. So this is a really cool building, and just the way it all stacked up with the sky and everything. Again, simple picture, but I love all the ornate, the curly cues and the trim and all that's holding up the edge of the roof and the white bricks. And again, I can't say enough about the sensor in the A7C Mark II and the A7 IV and now the FX2. There's just so much dynamic range. You can reach for almost and get almost anything out of that sensor. It's just a stretchy, bendy thing, and it makes street shooting really easy because you don't always have time to get everything just perfect, especially if you're shooting people. And it's nice to have a sensor where you can recover what you need and what you want based on it. It's really cool. This is my son and I waiting outside the Blue Note Jazz Club, just waiting to get in. And there's this huge brass thing, and this lady in front of us just could not. There was something going on with her where she had to touch everything, and she touched everything around her. But it just, I don't know, cool. There's somebody taking a picture, a selfie, and then there's all these people, the stoplight in the background, and just, I think a lot of people would recognize this as the Blue Note. It's a very distinct entrance. Great band we saw. It was a quartet that grew as the night went on, and the drummer and the bass player were just, the drummer and the bass player are always the foundation of everything in music, and they were awesome, man. As was the headlining act. He was great, man. Just an amazing jazz guitar player. And there's a series here from that night. I shot all this from my seat. I never got up and walked around because you don't want to be rude. The A7C Mark II with a 40 is just a great way to go. And this is, of course, punched in. So I'm actually at some other focal length. I'll have to figure out what it is, but I'll put it in the video below. But so I punched in on this, just a little tighter. Great guy, great expressions. I just love, this guy was really great. And I also love how even in a really dark club, the autofocus does not miss. This is all medium, tracking autofocus and with the medium spot, and it just nails everything. This guy was awesome on the bongos. He'd been recorded on many Miles Davis tunes, so it was really cool to see him. I'd never heard of him before, but the guy was hot. He's playing good, man. Tough with those microphones stacked up. They have a lot of junk on the stage because they had more singers come up later, so it's kind of unfortunate. But again, I don't want to get up and move and block people's view. And anyway, but look how sharp his face is, his eyes. Just really cool. There you go. There's the eyes again. Now you can see the three of them playing together. It was just a great experience. And then we had this singer come up. She was really good. And then a hip hop guy came up and he was good. He was rapping, and it was just really cool to see the collision of music where you have you go to a jazz show and then there's hip hop in it. The fusion is a great thing in music. And just like in bluegrass, jazz musicians all like to share. They share the spotlight and bring people up, and really cool. Same thing, which is really cool. This lady's an anchor for a TV station in New York, and boy, she saw my camera and immediately started looking at me all the time. It's kind of funny, just like on TV. New Yorkers call this the Jenga building, which I think is kind of cute. I just went black and white for a while. It got a little overcast, and the bright sunny day and the blue sky went away for a while. It got a little overcast and a little darker, and this just felt right. But I love the Jenga building. It's cool. This is the High Line. My son and I walked the whole entire length of the High Line and the park at the end. If you don't know about the High Line, it's formerly an elevated platform for a subway line that they removed and then turned into a park. It's quite beautiful, and volunteers do everything, like with all the gardening along the walk and all that stuff. But the old steel is so cool. This is probably from the 1920s, I'm guessing. But it's this ancient subway platform that is right next to all this glass and steel and all these funky apartments that are, that I could never live in because I couldn't afford it. But people love to walk on the High Line. This is kind of a self-portrait with my son looking at his phone, and then people walking on the High Line. It's very, very cool. If you get a chance to go to New York City, don't miss the High Line. It's a really, really nice thing. And you can't get hit by a car or a taxi or anybody. It's pretty cool. Again, this is just walking along the High Line. There's like these three humongous, weird plastic candles. I don't know. New York City, what are you going to do? Take a picture, I guess. This building was fabulous. My son just loved it. All the curved glass and all the steel. And we stood probably at this building for 20 minutes, just walking slowly by it. And he really responded to it. He said he'd love to live there someday. Hope he makes more money as old man. This was just a kind of a net in a construction area that had been torn open, and it was looking down a street. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Again, the 40 millimeter, it's not quite a normal lens. It's not quite a wide angle lens, but it's perfect for a lot of things. And I think it's a great tool for street photography. I love the 40 compact prime. Andy Warhol peeking through. This is on the High Line, just looking through some buildings. And there he was. There was somebody next to him, but I cropped him out. I just liked Andy there in the stark. I messed with a lot of contrast and dehaze with this. And of course, I just desaturated it to get black and white. But I don't know. I like this one. It's maybe it's a little loose, but maybe it could be cropped a little better. But I like this. This is one of those views. There's a lot of views in the High Line where you go over streets and you can see way downtown or uptown or overtown. And this is just kind of cool. It was nice. I left it color, just so neat, but interesting building on the left with the weird funky windows and all the cove windows and stuff. It's pretty neat. This was next to a bar on the High Line. It was a small little thing, and they had just this broom sitting there. And the textures of the wall and the ground, the concrete, the steel, the pipe, the broom, the handle, I don't know. It was really cool. Maybe I'm stupid, but I really like this picture. It's just, it spoke to me. The lady, this was, we did the Circle Line tour, which goes around Manhattan on a boat, and it was very nice. It was not a super bright day, but it was overcast but bright, and I didn't get, sunburned too bad. But I really, again, this is the 40 at 40. It's not zoomed in or anything like that. And Lady Liberty, the Statue of Liberty, very nice. They're doing some kind of restoration work up there on that first platform, but just cool sky, just waiting. And I wanted her in between those two big clouds, and I just was patient as the boat was going slowly around the island. It was nice. This is that sad moment about this Mexican ship that it apparently lost power, and then the current pulled it into the bridge, and 2 died, and I think there were like 16 injured. So really sad that happened. Such a beautiful ship and a great tradition of Mexico. So hopefully they can get this thing fixed up and get it back on its way. And, but I feel bad for the families who lost people on that. It was really tough. This is just coming under one of the many bridges in Manhattan that connect New Jersey and New York City and Manhattan. Just kind of cool. You can see One World Trade peeking out there, and so many other buildings. These were all Irish tenements back in the day, where a lot of my people came from. This is the last picture of the group. This is just a building on the way back to where we were staying up at 59th and 9th Ave. And this is somewhere between like 10th Ave and 9th Ave, I think, probably in the high 40s or maybe the low 50s. But anyway, there's so many opportunities in New York City to do street photography and look at architecture, design. If you want to just go and shoot flowers, even though it's a concrete jungle, there's flowers everywhere and lots of beautiful plants and things to do. There's so much to do in New York, and to not have a camera is a crime. So here ends my one more video that I've made on the benefits of the A7C Mark II with the 40mm compact prime paired with it. I just love that combo. It is my favorite camera, and I'm just really, really challenged by the new FX2, which has the same sensor. It's a little heavier, but it has that cool viewfinder that swivels, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds cool. So I ordered one, and I'm waiting for it to come like everybody else, but I'll have to shoot it and see if the added bulk and weight is really worth it versus the A7C Mark II. I don't know. I love the A7C Mark II a lot, and it'd take a lot to move away from it, but we'll have to see what happens. But thank you so much for watching. This is PMR, and we'll see you next time.